course, I have been doing these endovascular pursuits as part of my vascular surgery career for a very long time, several decades actually. But really, it was in the very recent past where I set out to write a paper about the historical development of the basic foundational technologies of endovascular, namely angioplasty and stent technologies, that I have discovered so many things which I thought I knew, but I didn't, or my knowledge was incomplete, and in some cases wrong, about the facts or the time sequences, etc. So I can say that I have learned a great deal just in the past few weeks doing this research, going really deep into the historical developments for the last, I would say, 2 or 3 months. I have discovered, for instance, something that I truly knew, and that was true, that major breakthroughs in technology, innovation, and inventions rarely, if ever, happen in isolation, meaning that when something destined to be of great importance, both in medicine and outside of medicine, by the way, they tend to occur in clusters of several people or several groups, even more frequently, often working independently of one another and unknowing of each other's work almost at the same time. I used to lecture quite a bit in past years about a topic that was a favorite of mine that actually speaks to this very topic. The title of some of my conferences and lectures, the most frequently used, was The Myth of the Lone Inventor, or the myth of the lone innovator, meaning that very rarely in medicine or otherwise do we see a single person who is single-handedly responsible for the creation of something big and life-changing. Namely, angioplasty, for instance. There were some major developments. Obviously, the two largest figures, most significant, were Charles Dotter and Andreas Grunzig. No question about that, but there were many others who made it all possible. In stent technologies, it's even more remarkable that many innovators were working on the subject of creating some mechanical solutions, scaffolds, as they were named, in order to improve on the results of angioplasty. You know, angioplasty was a great development, but it was known almost from the beginning that it was less than perfect, less than optimal, even before the mechanisms of angioplasty were well understood. There were instances of restenosis and acute thrombosis that occurred and continue to occur not infrequently when done in isolation without further therapy. So very early on, many thought of the need for a mechanical solution to that problem, such as scaffold, what we now call stents. In fact, that is very much what Julio Palmas thought when he was listening to Andreas Grunzig in the year 1978 in New Orleans at the SCVIR meeting that was closed by Andreas Grunzig with a major lecture on PTCA and balloon angioplasty, and apparently he emphasized greatly the shortcomings of the technology, the poor results, the incidence of restenosis and reocclusion, and Julio immediately thought that it would be good to think of possible solutions, and that was the beginning of his conception of the balloon expandable stent, that was to be invented in the process of several years from that point on, well into the 1980s.